Hi everyone, it's Wednesday Warriors and it's me, Arielle. And this week we're going to be talking about comments that other people make in relation to appearance specifically, whether that means just looks in general or weight. Well, basically, I'm going to be talking about learning to ignore what people say that is hurtful, or dealing with failed attempts to be helpful, things that people say that can be triggering, and basically just how to go on with a clear head and not resort to triggers when words from someone or many people make you upset. This is a really good lesson for anyone, whether or not they have an eating disorder. I know that it's a question I get asked by a lot of people. Um, it tends to be one of the things that really bothers people and really sets them off when they are doing very well. A comment from someone, as well intended as it might be, can really be detrimental depending upon the mindset or the point in recovery for the particular person. I did a video quite some time ago, a couple years ago. I think it was called Dealing with Well-Intended Comments, and I'm going to find that video, post the link to it. Hopefully you can find it helpful. There's something that I've talked about for years, and I call it the 3 H's. And I did do a blog post about the 3 H's too, in addition to mentioning them in a video from the past. So I'll post the link in the info box to that blog post. Again, it's quite old, but it's just kind of an easy way to think of techniques of dealing with certain things that people say. The 3 H's really deals with people discussing food intake, if you have friends that are dieting, or people that constantly talk about how much weight they've lost, or people who are talking about their diets or how much they've eaten in a given day, things like that. The well-intended comments video deals with the 3 H's, but it also sort of deals with what to say or do when people are giving you a compliment or what they think is a compliment, but it just doesn't sit well with you. I think one of the really good things that you can do to help with just progressing and getting farther along in your recovery while dealing with the things that people are going to say is keeping track of all of the really nice things or good things that people say to you or about you. I think this helps because I've found that people remember the bad things or what they view as bad things so much more than the good things. And in reality, the good things said might be 80% and the bad might be 20, but they really remember and hold fast to the bad things so much more. So this is sort of an exercise in focusing on the good, but also really being realistic with what is said about you and what is true and what you should be taking to heart. Obviously, we can't stop people from saying the things that they say, but we can change our focus. We can redirect the way we think about things. And inevitably, people are going to say things about us and about our appearance and about our weight. And it's just because people can be very tactless and they can be very rude. They can be very mean-spirited. They can just be completely oblivious and clueless and say things without even, realizing that it might be hurtful. But rather than focusing on those few things, focus on all of the good stuff. People just don't do that enough. I mean, you might get told a compliment and just pass it off and never think of it again, but hear that one bad thing that someone says, and that is what plagues you. So I've said this in a video before. I think it was a video about being kind to yourself, but I want you to keep a notebook, and in that notebook, write down every nice thing or compliment that someone gives you. It can be anything in regards to appearance, such as you have a great sense of style, or I like the way you look in that dress, or your hair looks cute today. Whatever the case might be, it can be something like, great job on that test, great work on this project. You're so funny. You're so smart. I'm so glad you're my friend. Whatever it is, any good thing, write it down. It's going to be hard to remember to do this, but if you have, one of those small notebooks that you can keep in your purse or a bag, that you can just remember to jot down the things that people say to you randomly throughout the day, throughout the week, throughout the month. And it's really, really nice when you can then go back and read all of those things when you are having a really bad day. And then when someone says something that really hurts you or triggers you, you can pull out that notebook and you can combat that feeling with all of those good things that are there. And it's something that you have to do, even though other people are saying the nice things. But I think you'll find that it's a really great tool, and that you'll be using your own mind wisely, and that you'll be using your own experiences wisely instead of focusing on the negative. Unfortunately, in recovery from an eating disorder, people get discussed in regards to their weight. They get told things right to their face that family members, friends might think are helpful, might think are very positive. Things like, oh, you're looking so much healthier, or oh, I see you've gained some weight, or your face looks fuller. There are any number of ways and things that people say things in regards to appearance and weight, especially to those who are recovering from an eating disorder. And I think any of us who have been there understand that it's not always the most pleasant experience, and sometimes it can just keep going and continuing and continuing, and it seems like that's all you're hearing for quite some time. I think what you need to remember is what people are trying to tell you is they're so glad that you're back, or they're so glad that you're finally healthy, or they're so glad that you're finally looking well. You really have to read the kindness in the statements that are said, even if they irk you. I think the little notebook that you can keep of all of the great things that people have told you is very helpful in these sorts of scenarios as well. I also think it's important to, again, remember that you're not alone, and other people who are in recovery are dealing with this or have dealt with this. And just remember that sometimes it's just par for the course, and people just will not shut up. You can't control what other people say, you can't control what they do, and it's unfortunate, but you do have control over yourself and your own life, and you can take what they say in the way that you want to take it, or you can disregard it if you don't even want to think about it again. Don't give people more power than you want to. Don't give people as much power as you've been giving your eating disorder. Don't transfer that power from one entity to another, from your negative eating disorder to a family member or a friend. Take that power back for yourself. And if someone says something to you that you don't appreciate, just push it to the side. Let it bother you for those 2 minutes and just let it go. I could tell you any number of things that people said to me when I was recovering and gaining some weight. Trying to think back, it's been a while, but I was told that I had finally filled out. I was asked, "You're not going to eat all that, are you?" when someone looked at the food that was on my plate. I had been talked about in regards to clothing size. People discussed calories with me when I didn't want to be counting them or thinking about them. There are any number of things that were said in my personal past, so I know what it's like, and I know it doesn't feel good at all, but if you can take some of that power back, like I said in the video from last week, and just remember that the good can always outweigh the bad if you let it. So again, check out the resources that I'm going to post in the info box, to my blog post, to past videos, and just remember that you're great, you're wonderful, and no one can take that from you. See you next week.